Information shared on the following program is for general information purposes only. It does not constitute legal, tax, investment, or other advice, nor is it intended to recommend any particular investments, products, or financial instruments. Always seek advice from your financial advisor, attorney, or accountant with regard to investment, legal, or tax questions.
Welcome to the only show in the country dedicated to helping savers worry less about money, the Worry-Free Retirement, with your host, retirement specialist and six-time author and fiduciary, Tony Walker.
Not sure if you're a music lover, but I sure am. Growing up in a house full of musicians, I can remember as a kid in the 60s watching my mom and dad head out the door on weekends to entertain country clubbers with their band called the Four Sounds. Besides entertaining country clubbers, some of the other gigs they played around Lexington included the restaurant located inside the Red Mile racetrack, and on several occasions, the Four Sounds, as they were called, could be heard strumming tunes for patrons at the Rebel Room Lounge, a quaint little dancing establishment located in, of all places, a bowling alley. And while I certainly would not consider my mom and dad's four-piece band an orchestra, my father orchestrated not only the landing of the gigs, but also which songs they might play each night. So what does the thought of having someone in charge to orchestrate a band and create great musical harmony with a bunch of musicians have to do with you finding a retirement planning firm who can orchestrate a worry-free retirement for you? Well, I'm glad you asked. Well, welcome, folks, to the Worry-Free Retirement. And yes, I am that little man in the sweater vest, retirement planning specialist and the world's friendliest financial conductor, Tony Walker. And before we share with you why having someone to orchestrate your money and all the things that will come along in retirement is so important, let me introduce two young lads in the studio who, while unable to carry a tune in a bucket, sure know how to orchestrate the production of this show each week. That would be America's favorite financial sidekick, Mr. Aaron Orander, along with Louisville, Kentucky's most laid-back graphics artist, Mr. Derek Hudson. Okay, when you think of a room full of musicians with a guy or gal standing on a podium with his or her back to the audience, what comes to mind? Now, that's right, an orchestra. And what is so cool about a full-blown orchestra versus, let's say, my mom and dad's four-piece dance band back in the 60s is this. In an orchestra, someone must be in charge of making sure a room full of musicians are playing from the same page and producing the melody, tempo, and volume needed to make this huge group of musicians sound great. That person is called the conductor. And while all of the instruments are in the hands of the musicians, it's the lone conductor who is in charge of how the music will sound. Well, actually, that's not true, as evidenced by this grade school orchestra whose playing was obviously out of control of the conductor. As someone who has met in person with more than 20,000 savers and conducted more than 5,000 written game plans, I can vouch for the fact that the role of a financial advisor giving retirement advice is similar to that of a conductor of a large orchestra. You see, our job as retirement planning specialists is to make sure that all the financial products a saver might bring to the concert are properly coordinated with their plans and their goals for retirement, and that everyone is playing from the same page. That's where our proprietary game plans come into place and keep us and our clients on the same page. You see, it's our job to orchestrate how and when to take money from your accounts and whether or not you're going to continue to take risk or play it safe in retirement with them. This ability to orchestrate the retirement plans of more than 3,500 customers is working very well, as evidenced by the many Google reviews that are located on the home site of our page, TonyWalkerFinancial.com. These are reviews by clients who realize that we offer at Tony Walker Financial services that normally go way and above the competition and the rest of the financial world. Which is why today we are continuing our series on what makes for a perfect retirement plan as we cover pillar number 3, Orchestrate, and how we at Tony Walker Financial are allowing our clients to use, enjoy, and protect more of their retirement money long into the future. So stay tuned. This is the Worry-Free Retirement. I'm Tony Walker, and yes, I will be right back.
Hey everyone, I'm America's favorite financial sidekick, Aaron Ornder, and I thought I'd take a minute or two to give you an inside look on what it takes to put this show on and how we put it all together for you. First, every Monday we meet to go over the central theme of the show we'll record that week, and I'll take part of the day to make any notes on any special segments we have and to calculate the appropriate time Tony has to film. Next, it's Tuesday, filming day. This is where we'll film everything for an episode. After filming, I'll then check all the media to make sure all the video and audio recorded correctly. Now, in a perfect world, I'd start editing a show right after we film it. But with airing a new episode every week, we record a show a few weeks before it airs so that we have time to properly edit the show. Usually about a week or two after we film it, I'll start editing an episode. Now, each editor is different, and while some may like to edit out of order for various reasons, I personally like to edit the show from beginning to end so that it gives me a feel for the tone of the show. It can take anywhere from 2 to 3 days to edit an entire show, and once I've done that, I'll give it one last watch through, send it over to Trey Juergens for any revisions he may suggest. Once I've made those, I'll send it off to Tony. He'll review it and send me his suggested edits. I'll make those, send it back to Tony, and eventually it'll be approved. After that, it's time to place captions on the show so that you at home can watch and read along if you'd like. Finally, I'll send the show off to all the TV stations well in advance so that they have time to check it and make sure everything will air properly on their end. And then it's on to the next show and the process is repeated. So as you can see, there's a lot that goes into putting all of these episodes together. I personally appreciate all of you viewers out there tuning in every week and watching the show. Thank you.
Tired of the roller coaster ride of the stock market? Let Tony Walker show you how to smooth out the ride with your money. Log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com and let's get started.
As we continue our discussion on the 4 pillars to a worry-free retirement, let's hone in and focus on pillar number 3, the idea of having someone who can assist savers in orchestrating all the financial pieces in your financial orchestra that you'll need to know about in retirement. For instance, who is going to assist you with the following? When to begin Social Security? When to take money out of that tax-infested 401k that is yet to be taxed? How about this? How are you going to deal with the cost of health insurance, assuming you retire before the age of 65? Here's another item that comes up a lot: whether you need to go to the trouble and expense of setting up these trusts that are being advertised all the time, or keep those documents safe and simple. Another item, here's a good one: whether you need to apply for life insurance or long-term care insurance. Another example of needing to orchestrate a plan is how to elect those pensions, whether you want to take it as an annuity or possibly in a lump sum. And that leads us right back to life insurance, depending on your selection. Now, folks, these are just a few of the players you'll need to conduct. And believe me, after meeting in person with more than 20,000 savers, there's a whole lot more that comes up in retirement than these simple bullet points. So, to share with you 2 of our key staff members and how we orchestrate a lot of the things behind the scenes at Tony Walker Financial, I'm going to start first with our fiduciary in the Bowling Green office, who is in charge of all of our new business, and that's Miss Heather Hughes. Well, good morning, Heather.
Good morning, Tony.
And as always, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule there in Bowling Green as we record this show. So I guess the first thing is, you are in charge of all the overall new business, and we have a lot of players in that orchestra when somebody says, I'm ready to do business, and I want to turn our money over to Tony Walker Financial. So let's start with the amount of business. Now, we record this show in the end of July of 2025, but this is pretty consistent. How many applications and business do we have pending or that's just been issued for our customers?
Right. So, pending right now, we have about 178 applications that's split between annuities and our Schwab platform. and then about 133 that have been issued and are ready for delivery. Total between that is about $50 million. And that runs pretty consistently with us.
So throughout the year, it's kind of a revolving schedule of new applications, new business, even current clients who decide to deposit more money with us. But we have anywhere from 40 to 50 million pending at any one time and potentially hundreds of applications, correct?
Yes, very consistently so.
So if I'm a consumer, let's say maybe I'm even watching this show for the first time and trying to learn more about Tony Walker Financial, thinking about rolling over a 401k, moving money over from another brokerage account, just want local service. My thoughts are, how in the world do you all orchestrate, since it's our buzzword today, how do you orchestrate all of that? So kind of go through some of the players we have and the wonderful staff and what role they play once somebody commits to moving money to Tony Walker Financial.
Oh, absolutely. So we have just an amazing team that you've built out, and everybody has an assigned role and, performs their jobs well. But for instance, if a client decides to move forward, there's a process that's in place, and that's how we can kind of keep everything rolling. First off, we would confirm with a fiduciary that exactly what you want to do. A lot of times we'll have a plan built out, and they may want to move forward with all the plan or just part of the plan. After we have that confirmed, it does pass to our onboarding specialist, Beth Wisman, and she will confirm the information that we need to fill out the proper applications for you. So she'll ask about Social Security numbers, beneficiaries, confirm information we already have just to make sure we have that correct. So it's usually a 10, 15-minute phone call with Beth, or sometimes emails if we're needing statements or anything like that. After that goes, then our team starts processing applications. If there are any rollovers that are needed, so if you're rolling over a 401k or a 403b, sometimes TSPs, things like that, Craig Davis in our office will do a conference call with you. He is excellent in what he does and gets to get on the phone with the clients and the carriers, the custodians that are currently holding their funds in their 401k, and asks the proper questions and gives the proper directives to move the money over to Tony Walker Financial.
And I was going to say, we had a gentleman in the other day and he became a client. He was so frustrated. He was checking on his 401k. He had watched the show. He was over the age of 59 and a half. He found out he could probably roll the money over to us now, but he's still working. So he was going to call the company on his own. He'd never called them, and trying to find just out information. And he got so flustered. They wanted PIN numbers and all. He didn't have any of that stuff. He hadn't even called them in 30 years. And he just got frustrated and said, "You all handle it." And it was amazing. Craig got on the line the next day. We scheduled the appointment. He had over $200,000 more in that 401k than he realized because he hadn't checked it in several years and didn't know how to check it. So speak to just the amount of hand-holding we do. When a lot of people come in, they're intimidated by this whole rollover process.
Well, it's very scary because it's something that people may have never done before. It's a lot of times their life savings, and then they don't know what questions to ask or what terminology proper terminology that's used. So it's really vital to have somebody who knows that world and being an advocate for you in that process.
And then finally, I think what's unique about our firm too, it's not just that we place the money in all these different accounts. We'll speak later to Mandy Houchins about this very issue, but what is our role with the game plans, with our new CRM, and then the income audit process to make sure people stay on track over the years?
Oh, sure. So, that's jumping ahead after all the business is issued and delivered to the client. We do keep the plans that we've generated for the client and monitor how they're doing against that plan. So if they're taking distributions, are they the distributions we had planned on, or have they been adjusted up or down? So we have what's called an income plan audit that we use. So we compare what the plan is to what their current values are to see if they're on track. If they're not on track, obviously we have a conversation with the client just to see what's going on or if there's anything else we need to do for them. We've got Casey in there. He's doing a great job. He's automating a lot of that through a new CRM, which is really kind of the life force that drives all of our information in our company.
Well, Heather, we appreciate so much what you do and all of the players at Tony Walker Financial involved in new business. So thank you so much, and you have a good one.
All right. Thanks, Tony.
You're welcome. Well, now via Zoom in our Bowling Green office, we have the person in charge of all of the service work for our clients at Tony Walker Financial, Miss Mandy Houchins. And good morning, Mandy.
Good morning, Tony.
Thank you for being with us on such short notice. Now, Heather dealt with how we handle all of this new business with the hundreds and hundreds of new clients we take on each year. Again, I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of a prospective client that maybe is watching or listening to this show, and they're thinking, hey, I want to do business with these people, but what happens after the sale? And we get a lot of customers because they don't get any service. How are we able to service this many customers for all the needs that we know are going to come up?
Well, what we have done, Tony, is we have orchestrated a whole team. We have a service team that's made up of about 5 different staff members who are completely dedicated to handling all service issues for our clients after the sale.
And I often tell people they're thinking about doing business with us. One of the things that irks me is when I have to see clients call these 1-800 numbers, and I'm not dogging the companies. A lot of these companies we represent are fine, but in many cases, they don't know what to ask the people when they call these companies. Maybe the companies don't know what the game plan is. So why is it important that somebody work with somebody like us that they know the firm itself is going to be handling all the service requests so they don't have to call these 1-800 numbers?
Well, we just try to make it a lot easier for them so they don't have to make a phone call to each company if they have 5 different accounts. They call us. Our service team handles changing beneficiaries, changing address, whatever they need on all accounts with one phone call to us without having to wait on hold or hopefully even try to get to a representative that knows what's going on. We take care of all of it from beginning to end.
And it's been fun lately, Mandy, because we've had a lot of clients who've had mailbox money annuities for years. Our clients love
mailbox money.
So how exciting is it for these people to call in? We start initiating mailbox money. How do we set that up and get those monthly checks to them for the rest of their lives?
Yeah, a couple of different ways. Some of the companies will allow us to actually just do a conference call with the client right then on the phone, and they, take all the information, they get it set up immediately, mail them a confirmation letter, and then within usually a week to 10 days, they're getting that money and it's guaranteed for life. Another way is there is a form we can send to the client, get filled out, and it's just really fun to see those clients question, are you sure this is guaranteed for life? And, we repeat it over and over and they just get so excited because it just seems too good to be true.
And I tell you what, a lot of people like I had a lot of appointments in the Louisville office yesterday. I think I had 15 appointments, but current clients come in for reviews. Some of them are still surprised they still meet with me, which I'm happy to meet with current clients. But I had to buzz you all 3 or 4 times because we were running illustrations for different scenarios with mailbox money. And it was so cool that we could get those questions answered immediately, and they were able to make a major decision right there on the spot. So speak to how quickly we usually respond to the needs of our clients.
We try to be available immediately, but what I like to do is I try to tell our service team, if it's something that's going to take you calling the client back, just give them the expectation, and we try to resolve those things in a day or maybe 2, depending on how quickly we can get the answer. But the service department takes it very seriously to get our clients the answers they want as fast as we can.
Well, Mandy, to say I appreciate you in the service department being an understatement is a huge reason. In fact, I would invite people now to go to our website at TonyWalkerFinancial.com. What's cool about all those 5-star reviews, the majority of it is about the staff and all that you all do. So again, thank you for overseeing the service department and, of course, your assistance in the new business department as well.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tony.
You're welcome, Mandy. Folks, we'll be right back. Have you recently retired, been laid off, or offered a buyout? Has the company you work for moved, been acquired, or closed its doors forever? And finally, do you have a 401k with a previous employer you'd like to move to safer territory? Then take advantage of this opportunity to move your 401k or lump sum pension to Tony Walker Financial. Let's meet in person to discuss your retirement options. Log on now to TonyWalkerFinancial.com to schedule your free, no obligation appointment. Let us help you today.
Hi, I'm Derek Hudson, Louisville, Kentucky's favorite laid-back, I'm the graphic artist here at Worry Free Productions. The majority of my role exists in pre- and post-production. Let me explain. As Aaron mentioned earlier, we meet on Mondays with Tony to discuss the show we're filming that week. This is called pre-production, or everything we do to prepare for the show. My top priority is to build out graphics for our monitor that sits behind Tony. These typically include title graphics, article summaries, Bible verses, and whatever unique ideas Tony might come up with.
You've got mail.
Derek, need to go back and research the opening to the Walt Disney show in the 60s that started out with The Wonderful World of Disney, and try to recreate an opening with The Wonderful World of Technology. And instead of Tinkerbell coming in, maybe have my head on her body with the magic wand and change up the music a tad, etc. The show would start up with this opening and then cut to me in studio saying, "This ought to be good." Let me know if you had any questions. Your loving boss.
The next step is production, or filming of the show. While Aaron handles the filming, I'm syncing the monitor graphics with Tony's talking points, to the best of my ability.
So, like Hamlet, who when faced with a tough decision in life realized that if it is up to me, if it is to be, it is up to me. Okay, just leave that tax bracket up there. Or you can just go to Hamlet, yeah.
Then we start post-production, where everything comes together. Aaron edits the show itself, and I edit the radio show, skits, commercial spots, client spotlights, as well as other content for the company like YouTube thumbnails and print materials. And that's the gist of it. From Louisville, Kentucky's most laid-back graphics artists, thanks for watching.
Don't let the fear of running out of money in retirement keep you up at night. Turn your 401k into mailbox money for life by logging on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com or call 877-499-9255. It is estimated that each day over 10,000 people will turn 65, which means a lot of advisors selling a lot of annuities. Don't get stuck in the wrong annuity. Get a second opinion from TonyWalkerFinancial.com. Welcome back to the Worry-Free Retirement. In case you're just now joining us, our theme is how we at Tony Walker Financial are able to orchestrate literally thousands of written game plans, orchestrate serving thousands of customers, and more importantly, how we take care of those current customers that become clients. And with us in the studio, I thought I would invite my favorite son-in-law, Trey, into the office here, the studios, just to talk about this subject a little more. And Trey, the reason I wanted you here today, I know you didn't catch the interviews. I just interviewed Mandy in our Bowling Green office, how we orchestrate all of the wonderful service we provide to our clients. I had Heather out of the Bowling Green office talking about how we orchestrate all the new business. What I wanted you to talk about, and I think especially in Bowling Green, although we have a lot of clients in Bowling Green, even some of my friends and clients in Bowling Green, I don't think they realize how much business we do in Louisville. So I'm going to go back in time, kind of our humble beginnings when I first started here in Louisville 20-something years ago, meeting people in the Starbucks. Had no staff here. We had 3 staff in Bowling Green. Now we've got, 22 people employed by Tony Walker Financial. And we see on average between me, you, Wes, probably, would you say 35 to 40 people a week in this office?
Yeah, I was definitely going to say closer to the 40 number. Yeah.
With you all too, seeing more and more people. So how do we do that? I mean, you're involved in this and you're a big part of that, but what pains do we take behind the scenes to make sure we can see that many people and give them the attention they deserve when they walk in those front doors?
Well, it all boils down to the process. There's so much work that goes into the files before we receive the file for the appointment. And then when we enter that appointment, we know exactly what that game plan says. If someone decides to move forward, which very typically does happen in a second appointment just because of how much work goes into that plan, that if you bring them back to me, it's almost like me reading a different language is how we lay out these matrices. We have so many people say, how in the world do you keep all that straight? But we do that all the time. You bring them back, you tell me exactly what they're doing in terms of moving forward. I know what paperwork goes into being needed, getting all the onboarding started. It's a process, but it's very efficient.
Yeah, and over the years, we always focus on that process. I always like to say a process is never perfect, but that's part of a process. You keep trying to perfect it over time. So go back to that game plan because, and again, we're not trying to belittle other advisors out there, but how many people out of those 40, now a lot of them are current clients, but I mean, probably half of them are new prospects each week that come in. Out of those 15 to 20 new prospects who walk through those doors, maybe they've heard the TV show, they've seen the TV show, heard the radio show, or whatever, and they have no game plan. I mean, what percentage really has no game plan when they come in here?
I'd say the vast majority. They may have another advisor. They may just have a 401k plan. That's not a game plan. It's a good savings tool, but they don't have a game plan.
And speaking of music has been our theme, you know, you've heard my mother, play piano.
Oh, yeah.
She can still play. A lot of people don't know this. She was an exceptional player. Many people at one point in Lexington thought she was probably one of the best piano players in Lexington back in the day. But she plays a lot by ear. She has a unique ability to play by ear. And what I would say to the financial world, I think when we get into financial planning and retirement planning, I think I'd rather have sheet music and somebody that can read music. and I just thought of this. I thought, that's the problem, I think. I think a lot of these advisors are trying to play it by ear, and the poor old customer has no sheet music, and they don't know what song they're even playing. So again, what is that game plan really trying to accomplish in terms of making decisions that we know are going to have to come up down the road?
I love a good jam session as much as the other guy, but I think when it comes to turning over your life savings, when we present that binder and have these arrows that show exactly how these accounts are going to be funded, not only that, how soon you're going to start deploying assets from them, it really kind of sets an ease to these savers, knowing we know what they need to do with this money, but not only that, we're going to take care of everything.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole point of orchestrating things. So, and then let's speak to the staff. So myself, I like to say, for lack of a better word, I'm the conductor. I've got a lot of experience. I've been in it 41 years, but I feel so, I guess, blessed that I know I'm going to call you all the first chair. You know, we've got the first chair would be salaried fiduciaries. That would be Heather. You know, she would take over the place if something happens so we can continue on with the process. We have you as the fiduciary, mainly here in the Louisville office, handling all this new business and seeing current clients. And then Wes, my favorite nephew, has come along really well. He has his CFA now. He's really taken to the investment world very well. Then kind of describe, well, that's the conductor in the first chair. Maybe everybody gets to see them. But let's talk about all the people playing the instruments that really make this thing hum. Kind of go through some of our staff and all the roles they play.
Yeah, you always like to joke and say that when paperwork starts, you step out. That's really where the onboarding process starts. I, as another fiduciary, confirm exactly what we're moving forward with. I kind of intuitively know what all paperwork that will start to involve. Bring in Beth and Juanita and Craig, and that just really kind of gets them into the fold. We get all the pertinent information we need to prepare applications. If there's annuities involved, of course, Jennifer, Alyssa. So right away, we kind of show this onboarding sheet and put a lot of faces with names, but it really helps them understand that there's a lot more to this place than me and you when they come down the hall to move forward.
And also, too, I guess kudos to all the staff, but, you know, there's so much involved even on the back end. So then you've got Lisa Allerkamp and Leanne Tinsley who are having to re-update that income plan because sometimes people aren't really sure what they want to do. So, you know, I'll tell people sometimes, I said, really, it's a two-part decision what we're going through. First of all, do you want to work with Tony Walker Financial? Do you want us to handle everything? Most people, if they're ready, will go, yes. The second part is you don't have to decide everything right now. So a lot of times we just have a move over to Schwab and then we have follow-up meetings to make decisions on future investments, correct?
Oh yeah, we'll take it in their timing. It's a huge financial decision and nothing that we pressure. That's a lot of times people are pretty relieved to know how little pressure we put on them in making this decision.
So in other words, let's keep the tempo the same. Exactly. There's no reason to rush the tempo. As an old drummer, I can tell you that drives me crazy when drummers rush the tempo. Well, Trey, we appreciate so much all you do here, and thanks for stepping in last minute to kind of deal with the whole issue of how we handle the volume of business we do. Thanks to you and all of the staff. And folks, you have been listening to Worry Free Retirement. If you're sitting there right now and thinking, man, I don't have a local retirement planning firm doing any of this stuff, if you're retired or nearing retirement, let's talk. And we've made this so easy to do. We call it the free phone call with Tony Walker. It's absolutely free. You just log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com, TonyWalkerFinancial.com. Click on that Let's Get Started or call us anytime at 877-499-9255. Folks, we'll see you next week. But between now and then, if all else fails, you be worry-free and you make it a good one.